Like and subscribe right now, or this spider will crawl on your face when you're sleeping.
This Buddhist monk was allegedly self-mummified. This woman appeared on 14 census records, and she survived 2 world wars and 90 Italian governments. Want to know the secret to their longevity? Then watch the video till the end. Dimitri Kumanosku. Kumanosku was born on the 8th of November 1908 in Prahova County, Romania. Reportedly, he has a memory of the 1918 Great Union. At university, he studied mathematics and agronomy and graduated in 1933. He was a hardworking man that worked as an agricultural engineer and in plant pathology for an astonishing 70 years of his life. Mr. Kumanosku happily shared the secret to his longevity. He says that it was all because of the love of his wife, sons, and grandchildren. Further, he said that he hopes his fan will outgrow him. Other than love, his relatives say that he always had a healthy natural diet. Also, there are no factories or pollution where he lives, which contributed to his longevity. This great-grandfather lived through an impressive number of key historical events, including both world wars, numerous Romanian military dictatorships, and also the Soviet Union's occupation of Romania between 1944 and 1958. He died on May 28, 2020, at the age of 112 years old. Richard Overton. The title of being the oldest verified World War II survivor and the oldest man in the United States was Richard Overton. He was honored by President Barack Obama and died in December 2018 at a rehabilitation facility near his home in Austin, Texas, when he was 112 years old. He began his military career in 1940 at Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio, and in 1941 was sent to Hawaii immediately after the surprise attack by Japanese forces on Pearl Harbor. He once revealed the secret to his long life. Well, the secret was a little unorthodox, I must say. It was smoking cigars and drinking whiskey, which he was often found doing on the porch of his Austin home. He started smoking cigars at the age of 18. His theory was that he doesn't inhale them, but just blows the smoke out. And guys, the man used to smoke more than 12 cigars a day. Also, he married twice, but had no reported children. Kane Tanaka. Kane Tanaka was a Japanese woman who, until her death at the age of 119 years, was the oldest living person. She was the second oldest verified person ever to live this long. Kane Tanaka was born in 1903 and had 4 children. She had 5 grandchildren and 8 great-grandchildren. Kane and her family reported that she was actually born on December 26, 1902, and that her parents delayed the process of filing the report for a week because she was a premature baby and they were not sure if she would survive. Only if they would know. Tanaka died in a hospital on April 19, 2022. 9 days after being verified as the second oldest person to have lived. But this long life wasn't filled with health, as she had several major illnesses, including paratyphoid fever, pancreatic cancer surgery, and colorectal cancer surgery at the age of 103. Tanaka credited her health to faith in God, family, sleep, hope, eating good food, and practicing mathematics for her longevity. Jeanne Calment. Now it's time for the oldest living person that was verified and documented by the Guinness World Record, with a lifespan of 122 years. Calment was born in February 1875 and died in August 1997, far exceeding any other verified human lifespan. Calment is widely reckoned as the best documented person, as she was listed in 14 census records, beginning in 1876 as a 1-year-old infant. She led a leisurely lifestyle within the upper society, pursuing hobbies such as fencing, cycling, tennis, swimming, roller skating, and playing the piano. She gave birth to her only child, a daughter named Yvonne Marie Calment. After outliving her brother, her son-in-law, and her grandson in 1962-63. Calment had no remaining family members. She lived on her own from age 88 to 110, after which she moved to a nursing home. Calment described her secret to longevity as a diet rich in olive oil. She continued cycling until her 100th birthday. Calment died of unspecified causes, although she was in good health, though almost blind and deaf. Bob Weighton. Bob Weighton was given the title of the world's oldest living man by the Guinness World Record. He was born in 1908 and died from cancer at the age of 112 in 2020. Bob was a proud Yorkshire man. He was very passionate about environmental activism and used to call himself an eco-warrior. He was also a great admirer of Greta Thunberg. While talking about life, he shared his words of wisdom, saying that laughter is extremely important and that most of the trouble in the world is caused by people taking themselves too seriously. According to him, the secret to his longevity was to avoid dying. He described how the world is in a bit of a mess with all the crises. He is survived by his 2 children, 10 grandchildren, and 25 great-grandchildren. Bob lived through the reigns of 5 British monarchs and 22 UK prime ministers. Hester Ford. A North Carolina woman, Hester Ford was recognized as the oldest living American. Ford was at least 115 years old and 245 days old at the time of her death. The Gerontology Research Group verified her age and recognized Hester as the oldest living American in 2019. According to her family, she was born in August 1904, which would make her 116 years old. After the death of her husband, Hester continued living in her home independently until she was 108. Her family members insisted on moving in to help her after she fell in her bathtub and bruised her ribs. Hester gave birth to 12 children, 8 daughters and 4 sons, which in turn gave her 68 grandchildren, 125 great-grandchildren, and at least 120 great-great-grandchildren. Man, this whole family can make a town of their own. She experienced 2 pandemics and 2 world wars and lived under 21 presidents. Now that's something. When asked about the secret to her longevity, she said that she just lives right. That's all she knows. Lucille Randon. Lucille Randon is officially the oldest living person in the world right now. The French nun recently celebrated her 118th birthday. Randon is a Roman Catholic nun, having converted to Catholicism as a young adult, working as a governess, teacher, and missionary before retiring at the age of 75. She has been residing in a nursing home in Toulon, France since 2009. She was born in southern France in 1904 when World War I was still a decade away. She can no longer see, but that doesn't stop her from enjoying the remaining years of her life. She also holds the record of the oldest surviving COVID-19 patient. When asked about her feelings about becoming the new oldest living person, she appeared to have mixed feelings about it. She said that she feels she would be better off in heaven, but the Lord doesn't want her yet. However, she has also expressed her joy at being pampered by her family. Ranson enjoys chocolate and wine and drinks a glass every day. Jiroemon Kimura. Jiroemon Kimura lived for 116 years and 54 days. He was born in the year 1897 and died in June 2013. In December 2012, he became the verified oldest man in history. He reportedly had 7 children, 14 grandchildren, 25 great-grandchildren, and 13 great-great-grandchildren. Kimura worked in his local post office until retiring and was said to have helped his son with his farming even at the ripe age of about 90 years old. He said his secret to longevity was eating light to live long. People described that he had an amazingly strong will to live and was a pretty confident man. Since his birth, Kimura lived through the reign of 4 Japanese emperors and 61 prime ministers. He saw his country dabble disastrously with militarism, and in his 50s witnessed its rise from the ashes of war to become one of the world's most powerful economies. Luo Meizhen. The authenticity regarding the age of Luo Meizhen is debatable. Luo Meizhen's official identity documents claim that she was born in Xi, China on the 9th of July, 1885. However, these documents were issued later in her life. Her birth date could not be authoritatively verified, as birth records were not started issuing in her region until 1949. Lu had 5 children and also had several great-great-grandchildren by the time of her death in 2010. The Gerontological Society of China announced the 125-year-old Luo Meizhen was the oldest living person in China. But according to this claim, it would have made her the oldest person in the world to ever exist. However, the lack of official birth records meant that Guinness World Records was unable to accept the claim of her longevity. After a few months of illness, Lu died of natural causes at the claimed age of 127 in June 2013. Gertrude Weaver. Gertrude Weaver of Arkansas was born in 1898 and died in 2015. Which made her 116 years old at the time of her death. She was living in a nursing home in the city of Camden. The research group was able to verify Weaver's age using census records and a marriage certificate from 1915 that listed her age as 17. She's outlived all but one of her 4 children, Joe, who turns 94 this month. Her only son used to visit regularly along with other family members and friends. Gertrude Weaver's advice on how to live a long life was to use a lot of skin moisturizers, treat everyone nice, love your neighbor, and eat your own cooking. She was very much against eating at fast food places. She would have turned 117 years old on the 4th of July and wished for President Obama to attend her birthday party, as she was a huge fan and because she voted for him twice. Sarah Knauss. Sarah D. Remer Knauss was the oldest person ever from the United States and the 3rd oldest fully documented person ever to live after French supercentenarian Jeanne Calment and Japanese supercentenarian Kane Tanaka. She lived to the age of 119 years and 97 days before passing on the 30th of December 1999, 33 hours before the year 2000 began. Her only child, Catherine, was born in 1903 and died in 2005 at the age of 101. Before Sarah's death, there were 6 living generations in her family. She died quietly in her room and was not reportedly ill. Once talking about her life, she said that she enjoys it because she has her health and can do things. Sarah lived through 7 U.S. wars, the sinking of the Titanic, and Charles Lindbergh's solo flight across the Atlantic. After her death, major organs were donated to the Harvard Medical School for studying the means of slowing down the aging process and preventing debilitating diseases like Alzheimer's. Nabi Tajima. Nabi Tajima was the 2nd oldest Japanese person ever at the age of 117 years and 260 days. She was also the oldest living person for around 7 months. Tajima was also the last confirmed person that was alive during the 19th century, having been born in the year 1900. She had 9 children and reportedly 160 descendants at the time of her death. As of September 2011, she had 28 grandchildren, 56 great-grandchildren, and 35 great-great-grandchildren. She died in April 2018. She wasn't specifically ill. She just died because of her advanced age. Miss Tajima was also living at a nursing center for the elderly. In January, she became weaker and was taken to a local hospital, where she spent the rest of her days. What do the Japanese eat, man? All of them are living such long lives. Guinness World Records was planning to recognize Miss Tajima was the world's oldest person, but sadly she died before receiving the accolade. She said that her secret to health was eating delicious things and sleeping well. Susannah Mushatt Jones. Born in 1899, Susannah Mushatt Jones was an American supercentenarian with the age of 116 years and 311 days. She was the world's oldest living person and the last living American born in the 19th century. The woman also had the honor to live during 3 centuries. Her grandmother, an ex-slave, also reportedly lived for 117 years based on census data. Susannah was married for a short time but never had children, although it was said that she had 100 nieces and nephews. She never drank or smoked, and she also slept more than 10 hours every night. She loved bacon and used to eat 4 strips daily. She became blind when she was 100 and was partially deaf. Besides a multivitamin, she took only medication for high blood pressure. She refused cataract surgery or a recommended pacemaker and never had a mammogram or a colonoscopy. Susannah had a love for upscale lace lingerie. According to her, the secret to her longevity was not being married long. Maria Capovilla. Maria Capovilla of Ecuador lived to the age of 116 years old, having been born in 1889 and dying in 2006. She was recognized by Guinness World Records as the world's oldest living person. Maria lived a comfortable life. She was the daughter of a colonel and lived a life among the upper-class elite, attending social functions and art classes. She never smoked or drank hard liquor. She gave birth to 5 children and was the granny to 12 grandchildren, 20 great-grandchildren, and 2 great-great-grandchildren. At the age of 100, Maria nearly died and was given last rites. But surprisingly, after that, she never got sick. Maria was in good health for someone of her age. She used to watch TV, read the paper, and walked without the aid of a stick. Unfortunately, she succumbed to pneumonia just 18 days before celebrating her 117th birthday. Her life spanned 3 centuries in the rule of 33 elected Ecuadorian presidents. She is the second oldest verified South American ever. Francisca Celsa dos Santos. Francisca Celsa dos Santos was a 116-year-old Brazilian supercentenarian. She was once the 3rd oldest living person in the world whose age was verified by the Gerontology Research Group, after Kane Tanaka and Lucille Randon. She is the longest living South American person ever, surpassing Maria Capovilla of Ecuador just 1 day before her death. She was born in October 1904 and died in October 2021. Francisca had 6 children. She was a survivor of 2 pandemics, the Spanish flu between 1918 and 1919 and that of COVID-19. She was diagnosed with a malignant stomach tumor at the tender age of 85. The doctors gave up on her and said that she would not likely survive this, so her family took her out of the hospital and decided to treat her with home remedies. Despite the odds, she proved the doctors wrong and successfully recovered. Her secret to a long life was to not take medicines. Francisca died from pneumonia in Ceará, Brazil at the age of 116 years and 349 days. Luang Pho Yai. The TikTok videos of this alleged Buddhist monk from Thailand went viral on social media. People claim that he was one of those self-mummified monks. The videos show him with his granddaughter and great-granddaughter. His kind demeanor, frail appearance, and age helped to propel the popularity of the videos. But on the other hand, these video clips also spread a number of false rumors. Many say that the monk was 163 years old. Her granddaughter later cleared all the rumors, stating that he was only 109 years old. And the videos show him in the hospital, recovering from a hip injury, hence the frail appearance. He was not self-mummified or anything. She further stated that barely talks and is blind, and his hearing is also not good, but his consciousness is still sharp. He would have turned 110 this year on April 13th, but sadly, Luang Pho Yai did not live to see his 110th birthday. Emma Morano. Emma Martina Luigia Morano was an Italian supercentenarian who lived for 117 years and 137 days. She was the world's oldest living person whose age had been verified. Morano was born in 1899 and died peacefully in her sleep on the 15th of April 2017. She is the oldest Italian person ever and the 3rd oldest European. She was the oldest of 8 siblings, all of whom she outlived. Her life spanned over 3 centuries. Not only did she survive 3 centuries, but also an abusive marriage, the loss of her only son, 2 world wars, and more than 19 Italian governments. When asked about the secret of such a long life, Morano credited her longevity to her decision in 1938 to kick out her husband after her infant baby boy died at just 6 months old. She also attributed her longevity to her genetics and a diet of 3 eggs a day, 2 of them raw. According to her doctor, despite her age, Morano had a childlike love of cookies, so much so that she routinely hid them under her pillow so no one would eat them. And now let us move on to our subscriber pick of the day. This image was sent to us by a subscriber. Similarly, if you ever wish to know more about an image you come across, just send it to us. Who knows, we might even feature it in one of our videos. Today's subscriber's pick is a picture of Sir Ben Narian Chaudhry, who claimed to be the oldest man ever recorded. According to him, he was born shortly after the Crimean War in 1856. He died in April 1998, making him exactly 141 years old. The Guinness World Record, however, didn't recognize him due to the unavailability of any concrete evidence. Misao Okawa. Misao Okawa was born in 1898 and lived for a total of 117 years. Okawa was recognized as the world's oldest living person, as well as the world's oldest living woman in 2013 by Guinness World Records. She died in a nursing home in Ascoa due to heart failure in 2015. She is survived by 3 children, 4 grandchildren, and 6 great-grandchildren. While celebrating her most recent birthday, Okawa said that 117 years did not seem such a long time to her. She also said the key to a long life was getting at least 8 hours of sleep a night and eating sushi, which was her favorite. Even at the ripe age of 110 years, she was able to walk, but after that, she used a wheelchair to prevent her from falling over. Thelma Sutcliffe. Thelma Sutcliffe was born in 1906. She was an American supercentenarian who holds the record as the oldest validated person ever from the American state of Nebraska. Her sister, Marie Kelso, also lived to the age of 106 years, the combined age of 222 years and 12 days. The Sutcliffe sisters are one of the oldest pairs of siblings ever recorded. Thelma died in Omaha, Nebraska in January 2022 at the age of 115 years, 108 days. She had been living at an assisted living facility in Omaha and was the 7th oldest person in the world. She didn't have any children, and at the time of her death, her nephew, Robert Sorensen, who is 94 years old, was the last living relative. Sutcliffe credited her longevity to not having children, not smoking, and not worrying. Sutcliffe had previously survived 2 cycles of breast cancer over the course of her life. Prior to her passing, Sutcliffe's hearing and sight significantly deteriorated. However, her mind was still very sharp at the time of her death. See you next time.